Okay, so ready to jump into a company that's really changing the game when it comes to robots. Dexterity.
I think when people hear robots, they often think like, oh, it's going to take our jobs. But Dexterity's approach is really interesting because they're focusing on robots that can work alongside humans.
Right. It's not about replacing people, it's more like giving them a superpowered helper.
Exactly. Like, imagine a robot that could handle those really heavy boxes or do those repetitive tasks that can lead to injuries for humans. That's what Dexterity's all about.
So let's get specific. What exactly does dexterity make?
They develop robots that use AI machine learning and some really advanced robotics. And the key here is that these robots can learn and adapt to their environment.
So they're not just following a pre-programmed path, they can actually think for themselves in a way.
Kind of, yeah. They can process information from their surroundings and make decisions based on what they're seeing and feeling, which is pretty remarkable.
So who are they building these robots for?
Their main customers are large companies, especially those involved in logistics and supply chains. Think about places like FedEx, Amazon, any company that moves a lot of products around.
That makes sense. Those are industries where efficiency is super important,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of potential for automation. But what problems are they actually solving for these companies?
Well, think about a task like loading and unloading trucks. It's a
Ah,
tough job. Can be dangerous too. Dexterity's robots can actually go inside those trailers and handle boxes of all shapes and sizes.
wow. So no more backaches for the workers.
Exactly, and they do it with incredible precision. Thanks to their sensors and AI, they can figure out the best way to load the truck, maximize space, minimize damage.
I bet companies like FedEx are loving that, especially with how much online shopping has exploded.
Oh, yeah, and it's not just about speed, it's about safety, too. You're taking human workers out of potentially dangerous situations.
It sounds like a win-win for both the company and the workers.
Hmm.
So what other cool stuff do they do?
Another big one is what they call palletizing and depalletizing, basically stacking and unstacking those heavy pallets you see in warehouses.
Yeah, I see those things. They look really heavy.
They are, and it's a job that can really take a toll on the human body, but Dexterity's robots can handle it easily. So again, it's about making the workplace safer and more efficient.
It's amazing how they're tackling so many different challenges within these industries. Are there any other examples you could think of?
Yeah, their solution for singulation and sortation is pretty mind-blowing too. Basically, imagine a robot that can quickly identify and sort individual packages from a huge pile, even if they're all mixed up.
That's crazy. I can't even imagine how fast they must be able to do that.
It's essential for places like e-commerce fulfillment centers where they have to process tons of packages every day. So yeah, these robots are really changing the game.
So we've seen how dexterity is using robots to solve real problems. But what's the magic behind it all? What makes their robots so capable?
They call it physical AI, and it's basically what gives their robots that human-like dexterity, the ability to adapt to different situations.
It's almost like they can think and act like a human would.
In a way, yeah, they can learn from their experiences and adjust their movements based on what they're sensing, which is what makes them so unique.
So it's not just about programming them with a specific set of instructions. They can actually learn and improve over time.
Exactly. They're designed to handle those unpredictable situations that come up in real-world environments, which is what sets them apart from your typical robot.
That's pretty incredible. It sounds like dexterity is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with robotics and AI.
They're creating robots that can work side by side with humans in a way that we haven't really seen before, and it's all thanks to this physical AI.
I'm really curious to learn more about how this physical AI works in practice.
Well,
So we
maybe
left off talking about physical AI and how it lets these robots work in these complex environments like warehouses.
Yeah, a lot of companies are building robots these days, but what sets Dexterity apart is that they're not just automating a single task, in a controlled setting. It's more about creating robots that can handle a wide range of jobs in these messy, unpredictable places, like you said, warehouses.
So it's about adaptability more than just being good at one specific thing.
Exactly. Their robots are designed to be more like problem solvers than just, mindless machines. They have all
Hmm.
these sensors, cameras, force sensors, LiDAR, all that stuff, which gives them a 3D view of their surroundings.
It's like they're building a mental map of the whole place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And they combine that sensory data with some serious AI algorithms to make decisions in real time so they can react to things as they happen.
So if something unexpected happens, like a box falls off a conveyor belt, the robot can just deal with it.
Yeah, it's not just following a script. It can actually see that something's changed,
So
figure out what to do next.
I guess that makes sense. In a warehouse, Things are never going to be perfectly organized all the time.
Right, and that's where that adaptability really shines. A traditional robot might just get stuck, but Dexterity's robots can kind of think on their feet.
It's almost like they're learning as they go.
Well, in a way, they are. Dexterity uses machine learning to train their robots, so the more they work, the better they get at handling new situations.
That's really cool. So it's not just programming, it's about giving them the ability to learn and improve over time.
Yeah, it's a whole different way of thinking about robotics, and it opens up some really interesting possibilities. Imagine a robot that could actually learn from watching human workers.
Yeah, that would be pretty amazing. It could figure out how to do things more efficiently or even come up with new ways of doing things.
Exactly, and Dexterity is really leading the way in this whole human-robot collaboration thing. Their robots are designed to be safe and easy to work with.
So they're not just stuck in a cage somewhere. They can actually be out on the floor with people.
Right? They have all these safety features built in to make sure that nothing goes wrong, sensors and stuff that prevent them from bumping into people or objects. And their movements are designed to be predictable so humans can anticipate what they're going to do.
It sounds like they've really thought this through.
Yeah.
It's not just about throwing robots into the workplace and hoping for the best.
Yeah, it's got to be done carefully. And Dexterity seems to be doing it right. They're really focused on making this whole human robot thing work smoothly.
So we've talked a lot about the tech behind Dexterity, but what I'm really interested in is how it's being used in the real world. Can you
Yeah.
give us some examples of how this is actually making a difference?
Oh, definitely. We mentioned FedEx before, and that's a great example. Their AI-powered truck loading robot can handle something like 1,700 packages an hour.
Wow, that's a lot of packages.
It is. It completely changes the way they load trucks. And, think about the benefits for the workers, too. It's a tough job lifting all those heavy packages.
Yeah, I can imagine it would really take a toll on your body.
Exactly. So the robots are taking over that part of the job, making things safer and less physically demanding for the human workers.
And FedEx gets things done faster, so it's a win-win situation.
Right. It's not about replacing jobs. It's about letting robots do what they're good at and letting humans focus on the things that require, human skills and judgment.
And Dexterity isn't just working with FedEx, right?
Oh, no. They've also partnered with GXO Logistics, which is a huge company in the warehousing and logistics space.
So they're using robots in warehouses now.
Mm.
What kind of tasks are they doing?
All sorts of things. Palletizing, depalletizing, sorting, all those essential warehouse jobs that are really labor intensive.
And probably pretty dangerous, too.
Yeah. There's a lot of heavy lifting involved and a lot of repetitive motion, so Dexterity's robots are helping to reduce injuries and make the workplace safer.
It's amazing how they've managed to make robots that can do all these different things.
And they're really good at it, too. GXO has reported some pretty impressive improvements in productivity and accuracy since they started using these robots.
So the robots are faster, more accurate, and safer. What more could you ask for?
Right, they're tireless, too. They can work around the clock without breaks or fatigue.
That's a big advantage in today's fast-paced world.
It is, and it's not just about speed, it's about quality, too. These robots are incredibly precise, so they make fewer mistakes and there's less wasted time and effort.
It sounds like they're making a real difference in these warehouses.
They are, and, it's not just about the bottom line, it's about the people, too. They're making work safer and more sustainable for the human workers.
So it's not just about profits, it's about making things better for everyone.
Exactly, and that's what I really like about Dexterity. They're not just focused on the technology itself, they're thinking about the impact on people and the world around them.
It's great to see a company that's taking that kind of approach.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be admired, and their success is speaking for itself. They've got a huge valuation and they're expanding globally.
Yeah, their joint venture with Sumitomo Corporation is a big deal. Bringing this technology to Japan is a huge step.
It is. Japan's a really interesting market for robotics, and Dexterity's approach is really well suited to their needs. They've got a highly developed logistics industry, but they're also facing a shrinking workforce, so these robots could really help them to stay competitive.
It's a great example of how technology can be used to address some of the challenges that we're facing in the world today.
Absolutely. And, Dexterity is showing us that it's not just about replacing jobs, it's about creating new possibilities and making work better for everyone.
It's a really exciting time to be following the robotics field, and Dexterity is definitely a company to watch. Well,
I
on
agree.
that note, I think we'll wrap up our deep dive into Dexterity. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners have too.
It's been a great conversation, and I hope everyone's as excited about the future of robotics as we are.
We'll be back on Monday evening with another deep dive into the exciting world of AI technology Until then, have a fantastic weekend.